Hello, everybody. I'm Angela Hughes, a luxury travel entrepreneur, and welcome to our series. And this week we are talking all things tech here in the Luxury Travel University. So thanks for joining us. I have got all-star Sheila Folk here from Travel Industry Solutions, and we're going to be talking all things legal today, how to protect your business, what systems and tools you need in place. Because I know there's a lot of you guys out there right now who are wondering, how can I just be more efficient? So welcome to the show, Sheila Folk.
Thank
Love having
you
you back.
so much. I appreciate being here. I am going to, put on my best face here because, somebody said you should get a new puppy. It will be good for your other dog. And you go, why did I do this? I'm in my 50s. This is like having a baby all over again. And I have had a lot of sleepless nights, let's just say. So, but I'm here and I'm really excited to talk to everybody about this because there are just so many nuances. There are so many misnomers about legal protection from agents. And we just continue to hear more stories from some of our channel partners and agents. So thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I think it's really important to talk about how you even started this business. So let's backtrack a little bit, especially if you're new to the show or new to my channel. Sheila was an advisor before, and I think this, just knowing that makes this really important because you knew that something was missing. And so can you talk a little bit about your background and how you even got on this train to start with?
Yeah, sure. So prior to opening my travel agency, I spent 20 years in the hospitality space and also in the global risk management space as an executive. Somebody said, you should start up a travel agency. And I went, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Who doesn't love travel? And so I wanted a little more flexibility in my life. And I really wanted to set my own course, right? I wanted to be able to determine what my future looked like. So I had a neighbor who convinced me to open a travel agency. And because of my background, I quickly realized this industry is messy. There are a lot of holes in it.
Mhm.
And so I quickly got to work and developed a lot of my own solutions. I happened to have an expertise in operational efficiency, attracting clients, retaining them, boosting profits. So, through the first number of months in my agency, I really listened a lot. I documented, I saw where there were holes, and I developed systems for my agency, which actually took myself and my mother. I started the agency with my mother to 8 million in revenue in our first 2 years. After I was giving away my secret sauce for a long time. And oh, by the way, because of the risk background, I had legal protection put in place as well. But I am a hosted agent, and I took the idea to my host agency to bring this product to the market. And she fell out of her chair and said, absolutely, yes. So we got travel leaders and Internova involved, and we launched Travel Industry Solutions just over 3 years ago. So our goal is to power and protect travel advisors in minutes, not months.
So let's talk about what you're seeing out there. And I'm sure it's the same thing that I'm seeing. So many, well, there's no barrier to entrance into
Right.
this industry. And so you've got people popping in, and even old time agents. I mean, we talked about this when we first met, like myself, who'd been in the industry a long time. Geez, 10 years ago, we didn't really have contracts. We didn't have terms and agreements. You just sold a trip. And so we talked about that when we first met, or you were using hodgepodge agreements that you grabbed off of the internet. What were you seeing initially? Short answer, because I know we've got a million different questions to go through here, but I've got a lot of like power questions before we go into the bigger piece of this whole thing.
Well, a couple of those things really tie into some of the biggest legal mistakes that we see agents making. And the first is that copying and pasting. I think what a lot of agents don't understand, and it's not it's really a lack of understanding, right? They find a provision that maybe their colleague has, or they find it online and they go, oh, that sounds really good. Let me add that to my terms and conditions. But what they don't realize is sometimes when they add a new provision, they are negating something else inside of their contract. Or if they're creating their own terms and conditions, they don't understand some of the provisions that are required by law. A big thing that we see is they don't understand what definitions mean. So, what do I mean by that? You can use a capital A affiliate or a lowercase a for affiliate. And are you using it properly inside of your terms and conditions within all of the appropriate paragraphs? So we're seeing a lot of issues cropping up with travel agents who are using this copy and paste method to protecting their business, or they just don't have protection at all. And I would say the other piece is there's a mentality that contracts are one and done. And you know what, Angela, as you know, you've been in this business long enough to know that there are so many things that change all the time. This is a living, breathing industry. And you were around during 9/11, and you never thought anything else as big could happen. And then COVID happened, and then Israel happened. And now we're dealing with a host of other issues
Right.
that aren't really widely being talked about inside of the industry except by TIS.
Well, and I think people thought even during COVID, like there's nothing you could do to protect yourself from that, really. I mean, it was almost like things were going to happen. It went on. I was so glad that we actually had things in place, that we had you through that whole thing, and, pretty much required that now for every single thing. Like, I can't even think about selling travel. There are so many agents, and you're listening right now in this group, that don't protect themselves,
Well, here's an example. I just saw this the other day in a Facebook group, and this particular agent had a client who forgot to buy travel insurance.
Mhm.
They were in destination, and many of the travel insurance companies will not insure you once you're in another country. There's a whole other thing around that. We've talked to many insurance companies about that. But there were things that she could have done ahead of time to ensure that her client was aware of travel insurance, ensure they knew about the last opportunity. And I always say there's 4 pieces of communication outside of sending the waiver itself to your customer, or what we call the acceptance to your customer, to ensure that, one, you are protected because you've offered it up. And then you're ensuring that your client is also protected, because we get busy, right? I mean, look at me. I'm exhausted today, and there are things that I probably will overlook today that I need to do today. We're all human. So that's one example of things that agents are overlooking, because they go first and foremost to terms and conditions, and that's it. They're not thinking about other policies. They're not thinking about travel agents being targeted for copyright infringement, not having privacy policies on their website, and the travel insurance acceptance, having a robust one that really does more than a yes or a no, but it gets your client to agree that they accept full responsibility for the choices that they make, and understanding coverages, etc. But you're right. Going back to
this interjection right there too. I see so many agents who will go into a Royal Caribbean and accept the terms for a client, and then download their documents because they think they're doing them a favor.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
ever do that,
or they're linking to their host agency's terms and sending their terms, and that creates a whole world of problems in itself. If you go to litigation, which one governs, which one doesn't? There's, no clarity there. So we're seeing a lot of these issues crop up. I mean, now that we've grown so much and we have thousands of people on our platform, and we get these questions coming in because we provide support to our members who have these types of questions, we're seeing things that were like obvious things to us, like, why would you do that? But we have to remember that not everybody has a business background, or not everybody understands, the little nuances, or, they're so busy. They're focused on other areas of their business that they don't have time to slow down.
Well, I want to ask you a question too, which I think is, we didn't even discuss this prior, but you and I have discussed this personally before, why somebody needs to become their own business, even if they're working under a different brand, an LLC or something, to protect themselves. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that goes back to that whole piercing the corporate veil. You don't want to expose your personal assets in the event of a lawsuit. And not to mention, agency owners really want to have clear separation between their agency and their ICs.
Yeah.
It is a win-win for everybody. And that's another thing that we're seeing a lot of, is agency owners who really want all of their ICs to operate under their own brand, and understanding what that means when they dictate that. I do want to say, guys, I'm not an attorney. We employ a team of attorneys. I'm
better
here.
than an attorney, though.
Yeah, so I feel like I could be.
A lot of
really
attorneys mad, but you know your stuff.
I know my stuff, and I really understand how and why this is so important inside of your business, and what are the things that can happen to you. So I'm really passionate about this real non-sexy kind of topic, but it's so important because anything can crop up. I'm going to tell you, this is really interesting because, this personally, Angela, that outside of just providing this platform and all of the tools that we have, which I'm going to show you guys our new technology in just a moment, but we spend a significant amount of time speaking to risk management directors of major credit card companies, to people like chargeback gurus, insurance companies, and other channel partners. And an interesting stat that was shared with me a couple of weeks ago is around E&O insurance. So across all industries, usually the first claim will happen between year 4 and 5. In the travel industry, year 1. So if you're counting on your host agency's E&O insurance to protect you, make sure that there's enough coverage for the number of agents that they have inside of their business. And you're not.
And let's clarify that, because it's actually an amount that people insure. So there might be a maximum of like 2 million, but you're splitting that among every single agent. And if one agent gets sued for, and again, E&O covers big things. This isn't like minor mistakes. These are major things. If somebody is suing you or something, that can eat up 2 million real fast. And then you don't really have coverage the rest of the year. All of these advisors that go out to big host agencies and they're all like, you're covered, you're covered. I tell all of my people, whether you work under my brand or you work under your own brands, because we do have some trips and ships advisors, and we do have people that have their own brand as well, that you should have your own policy, like be double covered. I mean, you're talking $300 or $400. And this is what drives me crazy with rookie agents, is they're like, oh, the cost to get into the industry is so expensive. Fees, subscriptions to Travel Industry Solutions, getting E&O insurance. And I'm like, are you kidding? I spent.
Yeah, you know what the cost is if you have to go to court? I mean, come on.
And then what did it cost you to go to school? Because I actually did.
That kind of thing blows my mind, that mentality, because I call those people playing business. They're not in business, they're playing business. And they don't really think about the downstream effect of not investing in their business for core tools that they need. But the other thing that's real interesting that's happening, we all talk about first party fraud, or what we call friendly fraud. So I don't know if the listeners on this call realize this, but first party fraud is costing the travel industry $1 billion a year. 2/3 of that is related to what we call first party fraud or friendly fraud. So maybe somebody took their trip, they were unhappy, came back, did a chargeback against you. Maybe they deposited and it's non-refundable, they do a chargeback. So 2/3 are related to chargebacks. The next thing that is, is related to friendly fraud. The next thing that's on the rise, we talk about fraud and, hey, looking for the red flags that crop up, like somebody in another country who wants 10 airline tickets for next weekend or a resort stay. Let me tell you guys, there are bigger problems for you besides that. So we're going to have this person on a webinar and it'll be open to the public, but she's, as I mentioned, a director for a major credit card company, and synthetic identities are on the rise.
And
That
we should
is
really have that same conversation in here again, maybe next quarter as well with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it used to be part of the dark web, but now they're out in the public. And so what's happening with synthetic identities, according to this major credit card company, is that the fraudsters are getting smarter. So they're maybe giving more buffer time between their departure date. They're letting you get to know them a little bit, and then they're taking a lengthy period of time to develop identities connected to real people and real credit cards. The credit card companies do have some systems in place to trigger whether it's fraud, because there's always going to be one thing off, right?
Right.
But if you're collecting the money into your own agency, you may not have certain tools in place that are going to trigger that. The problems from the insurance companies, from the credit card companies, I say, where are they stemming from? The travel agents. The bulk of the problems are coming from the travel agents. They're not adequately informed. They're not prepared. They're making poor decisions. They don't have legal protection in place to support their suppliers. Even if they don't collect the money into their agency and they take the client's card to pay the supplier, it's really causing such a ripple effect inside of our industry. And it's affecting everybody.
Well, and interesting enough, like I found out one of the biggest brands, and I'm not going to mention them right here in this show, but one of the biggest brands all of you have used, they'll charge you for it. They're not going to.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna get stuck with that if there's a credit card recall or something and they get screwed, it's coming back to your agency. That's really scary. You better know what you're dealing with. Okay, really quick, because this is a conversation we could just have all day long, which we need to do. I think one of my biggest questions is what are some of the biggest legal mistakes that people make when they're working in the travel business?
So the copy and paste, that's a big one.
Okay.
They're copying and pasting. They don't understand what they're doing to themselves by, taking those actions and not investing, which we talked about earlier. I'm new. I just don't know that I have all of the monies to, pay for this right now. I'm going to tell you right now, the court doesn't care that you're small or you only have one client, period. They don't care. And so that's a huge legal mistake. Of course, not having your LLC, your E&O insurance, but the one and done philosophy. We did a huge webinar the other day, and we did some polls on the webinar. It was through one of our strategic partners. And we polled the audience and asked them, how many of you have had your legal contracts updated within the last year? And then has it been more than 1 year? Has it been more than 3 years? And many of the customers or the agents on the call were in that 2 to 3 years. They had not had their legal contracts updated. So inside of TIS, just so everybody knows this, I already said I'm not a lawyer, but we do employ a team of lawyers. And what's really important for people to understand is that not only are we monitoring all of these proposed bills and these laws, but we have lawyers that are specialists in different areas. So if you go to a solo attorney who maybe does a little bit of travel law, they might do a little bit of real estate law, a little bit of this law. It's hard for that person to fully stay on top of all of the changes in all of these areas: labor law, privacy law, travel law. So each one of our lawyers specializes, and that's a key piece. So many things change. This one and done mentality is just mind boggling to me. Um, we don't do this in other industries or people, that we deal with in other professions. And so why would you do that for yourself? Why would you think that way?
Exactly. So cutting and pasting, not being prepared with the correct documents, so to speak. What was it? What was the third thing
And
there?
then the last one was the one and done
Oh, the
mentality.
one and done mentality.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, look at just what came out with the Department of Labor and changes to some of the IC rules. So we have a host of different documents inside of our suite of products that relate to 1099 contractors. So in addition to doing our big annual review right now on all of our core agreements, we're having to sweep through every single document on the labor changes to make sure that this isn't just a political move. Is this really a political move, and or are there real changes here that are impactful to our customers?
Yeah, and there's states all over the country, Utah, California, that want to change and bust small companies, photographers, travel agencies, bakers, all of these ones that have independent contractors.
Mhm.
And that's why good agencies charge fees, and they charge high fees to keep that separation.
Mhm.
And so when advisors come in and they're like, I don't want to pay a high fee or whatever, I usually say right up front, that protects you from getting in an employer relationship with me.
Don't even get me started on fees, because we're going to kind of get off on topic, but you know how I feel
Yeah,
about fees and the cost to be part of certain host agencies,
yeah.
right? You get what you pay for. And so there's a definite correlation to that. And also, I know, for instance, in your case, and I'm going to really just kind of trips and ships horn, is that
It's my horn.
um, it's when you get into an agency like yours, you are investing tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars vetting these small, highly curated suppliers and operators around the world, and you're experiencing the product. And it's not a pay to play situation. This is the best of the best, and I'm really booking them for my clients. So that's another discussion. Actually, I'm going to have you on my channel and we're going to talk about that.
Well, let's talk about what do you think the first thing that agents should do to protect themselves? Or what would you say going in? What would be your power plays that you would have for people right off?
Okay, so let's focus just on the legal documentation. There are core legal documents that everybody needs. So the first is a terms and conditions. The second is you really need a robust travel insurance waiver. We have the most robust in the market. And a lot of my own experience led to the depth of coverage in our insurance acceptance form. If you charge planning fees, you really should
Yeah,
have a.
hold on. Let's go back to, I just want to make a comment on the travel insurance for all of the listeners today, that they need to know that needs to go out with the quote. Because if And I'll see agents be like, oh, I forgot to offer that. I'll just do that. And now 14 days has passed and they've missed that CFAR cancel for any reason
Mhm.
window. They could come back with liability issues if they miss that early policy for cancel for any reason and you didn't offer them that. And they maybe have an issue that required that. And so that can become an issue. I tell people that needs to go out with every single quote immediately.
I'm going to tell you some of the issues that I've seen, and which is why
Yeah.
our policy or our forum is so robust. Is this is a real life example. Fortunately, it's a really, really good client of mine. I have a client who books the Regent World Cruise every year in a big name suite. And in 24, they needed to cancel that cruise because their home build was delayed. And so they were happy to accept, I don't know, it was like $23,000 penalty that they were going to lose from Regent. I sent them two insurance options, my primary go-to and then my secondary. They chose the secondary due to the cost. Well, this client happens to live in Texas, and also the way that the policy is written, this insurance company will not issue vouchers if the client cancels the trip and they're in penalty. So my client ended up being out, I don't know, $12,000, $13,000 on the insurance as well. It's so impossible for me to know all the laws per state. This state requires them to refund the money. This state doesn't. This policy will give you a voucher even if you're in penalty. This one won't. And when you have this provision inside of the insurance waiver that says, yes, client, I understand X, Y, and Z and my responsibility in choosing the policy, then it helps to protect you further. And so when you think about protections, don't just think about your terms and conditions. Think about your insurance waiver. If you charge planning fees, a solid planning fee agreement in place. We do have a short form, which we were the first in the industry to actually develop this. We had it right after we launched our product. So it takes the fear out of sending and receiving long legal agreements. It's a short form that your client signs to authorize payment, and they are signing off on your terms because it links to your terms and conditions. But the other piece that people don't think about, I'll say the other piece that they don't think about, their communication with their clients. Outside of their legal contracts, they don't think about their workflows and their communication.
Right.
We as travel agents are focused on big, beautiful, shiny things, right? We love beautiful pictures. We love all of these great things. But I'm here to tell you, your client does not care that you have a pretty header inside of your email. They don't. And I'm telling you right now, I book $1 million private jet vacations, and not one of them has said, you're missing a pretty header in your email. You know what they care about? The function. So your communication better protect you, meaning providing paragraphs that detail their responsibility, how documents work, coming back to your terms and conditions, reminders that are pertinent to protecting you. They better help you make more money. Softly upselling other services, concierge services, third party shore excursions, and they should free you up to make you more time, and they should be simple and well timed out. You don't need 300 email scripts. I promise you, you don't need it. But they need to do those three things. And then you need to have some forms in place, booking forms, cancellation forms, and the right type of checklists. The last thing, and this is the biggest thing, we've been talking about this for over 2 years now, and all of a sudden there's chatter in the industry. Privacy policies. You're required by law. If you are collecting information on your visitors, you have to have a privacy policy. And you also want a terms of use, which is the rules of the road for your website, which sets your jurisdiction. You don't want to piggyback off of somebody else's policies. It should be your policy, unique to your unique to this industry, not some online forms provider that provides forms for everything under the sun and they don't understand your business. Because trust me, we've seen those documents. They're not good.
You know, every time we have a conversation about these types of things, like my blood, my blood boils with all of this because it's scary. It can be so scary, you know. And the problem is people think it won't happen to me. It won't happen to my agency. I'm only booking a couple of trips, you know.
Well, if you want me to, let me show everybody how easy it is to protect
Let's do that. Let's jump over to that right now.
So,
ready to present
in October of this last year, in 2023, we launched our let me read these instructions. I am not used to your window. I'm not used to your.
Go ahead and hit present down there.
Yeah, but I'm trying to choose. Let me just do entire screen. There we go. That'll make it easier. Okay. Can you see the welcome back on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we first started Travel Industry Solutions, our legacy customers will remember we had a lot of downloadable documents. And then we had user guides that would say, all right, if you're this, fill in this here. If you're this, fill in this here. And we were spending a lot of time coaching our clients on the different provisions that they needed to include or eliminate, dealing with different nuances from hosted to independent agents to what I call gross agents to net agents. And so we decided to invest in a technology, building our own technology. All of this is custom to us, so that we could dynamically build legal agreements on demand on a per user basis. But the other thing that really bothered me over the course of the number of years that I've been in the industry is the friction. So there's a lot of friction inside of certain CRMs. Some agents aren't using industry CRMs or out of industry CRMs. Customers are feeling frustrated because they're getting so many emails about one transaction. So when we decided to start building the platform, I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and build our own e-sign, and let's go ahead and include a credit card vault as well, so that agents who want to execute agreements from within our system can do that. But for agents who love their CRM, they can still download the agreements and then copy and paste them over to their CRM. And I'll show you a really cool feature that we implemented later. We're the only ones in the industry. Obviously, we're the only ones of our kind like this in the industry, but we have a really cool feature which keeps you compliant forever. So once you sign up for TIS, we have 3 different membership levels. You're going to, if you're gold or platinum, you're going to set up your 2-factor authentication, but everyone will set up their agency profile. So we're going to walk you through a series of questions. It's like 4 screens, I believe. And once you click done, your core agreements are ready for you. So you'll come into your master templates. You have the TIS templates. You're going to have personalized templates, and then you can use our system as your own e-sign platform. Let's go into the master templates real quick. So we have a host of master agreements, from planning fee to influencer, independent travel agent, referral agreements.
And so just for people that are watching, like, do different subscription levels include more or less, I'm assuming, of the agreements if you're a newbie to the brand here?
That is correct. So if you go to our website in the pricing and products page, you'll see the inclusions for each level. So for the solo agent, there's silver and there's gold. Those are single user licenses. And then for agency owners, platinum, you get 5 user licenses, and then you can add additional user licenses as needed. But yes, and also silver, our lowest plan, you do not get the credit card vault. You only get the e-sign. But once you complete your profile, your core agreements are ready to go. So you could save as a personalized template. You can view the document. You can download and copy and paste to your own platform, and then you can execute it. So let's say you want to execute the travel services agreement with your customer. You click execute, choose the customer, enter the amount you want them to authorize. We're not charging their card. We're simply collecting their payment details. Enter a trip reference, a memo, and then of course attach all of your supplier terms, maybe an itinerary, whatever it is that you need to do, and click send document. Once you click send document, your client will get an email in one screen. They will sign, enter their card, download any documents, click any links. And here is the coolest thing of all. We have the most robust audit trail in the entire history of this industry, as I know it right now. Okay. Once everybody's notified, they get a signed copy. You're notified on your dashboard, but we have a full audit trail embedded in our system. What they looked at, when they signed it, what they downloaded, their IP address, their email address, were there attachments, what is the memo, and then you can view the billing details and the full credit card. We use a third-party PCI compliant credit card vault, which will store the full credit card expiration and CVV. So for any other agreements that are not fully ready to go, we actually guide you through the process and allow you to save this as a personalized template, to edit the specific fields later, delete it, execute it. But we guide you through some of the completion of sections, and we do give you examples as well. So maybe you don't know what to charge for planning fees. We give you several examples that you can use as is. You could trade a baby elephant if you want for, planning fees, etc. We now
This kind of replaces a PandaDoc or a DocuSign as well now, right?
It does. It does. So we have the full audit trail. And I will tell you that we have had many discussions with the various CRMs in the industry to do an integration with them, a touchless integration with them. We are revisiting those conversations this month and next month. I tell you, launching this tech platform nearly killed me. It was a 2-year build that we put into a single year, and there was a lot to be done. And we're now working on enhancements. Oh, you know what? Before, Angela, I move on to the workflows, if everybody recalls earlier, I mentioned to you the travel services agreement, which is a single page document that links to your full terms and conditions that you place on your website. We've provided you with HTML embeddable codes. So when you embed these codes into your website, each page, the affiliate disclosures, the privacy policies, the terms of use, when we update these policies,
and I love this, by the way,
they will update to your website while you sleep on a per user basis.
So they're keeping you refreshed.
We're taking the pain out of it for you. So you can rest assured that you don't have to step in and go, oh my gosh, I have to move everything back over again. What do I need to update? So for these 5 key agreements, you are getting real-time updates. If you changed your agency profile, let's say you go from a hosted agent to an independent agent, as soon as you click save, it changes your terms and conditions for you, and it updates directly to your website.
I love that. I love that feature so much. That's one less thing you have to
Oh, it's the favorite feature of all of our new features from
Yeah,
our
and
members.
let me just say, people, these are exactly what's in her name, solutions. Solutions to problems that she saw that the whole world has that I'm not thinking about even as a host agency owner. She's taught me a lot. I've been in the business since 85 probably, and I'm still learning things every single day because as a business owner, as an advisor, I don't have time to think about all of this. And
Well,
that's
and it's
the
interesting too.
solution.
We're working with so many of these big host agencies now, well-known host agencies who have brought our solutions to their member base, their agent base, and they realize that they need to go back and revisit all of their corporate legal. And so that's all been happening while we were in the last stages of finishing up the tech and launching it, which gave us a pretty good backlog. So we do have many TIS members who want forms that we don't have currently available on our site, or they have an incredibly unique business model that really is for 0.0000001% of the population, and they have us do some customized work for them. So we are addressing those needs as well. But it is shocking to see how many of the larger organizations also forget about updating their policies as technology changes, as tools change, as laws change, as the industry changes.
Okay, we're getting close to winding down, but I've got some other questions for you. What do you think the biggest surprises are?
Oh gosh. Um, Here was a big one. A lot of people don't know the benefit of workflows. If we're going to talk outside of pure legal forms, understanding the power of workflows to help you make more money in your business and protect you. So many agents I see are mentioning in different groups, like, well, I send out the booking confirmation and then I send them a reminder right before final payment. What do I say in between? And there's plenty to say. So we've developed, various series that you can download, group together, create task lists, and ensure that you are not only giving yourself an opportunity to make more money, but protecting yourself. We even have Travel Joy share links for all of the email templates. Also, as part of the communication strategy, they're not putting in place a strategy to follow up with their clients for no reason and not following up by text or email, but actually picking up the phone and calling your client for no reason. This is what creates those really deep relationships. Angela, you know this. You and I deal with the same type of clients, and this is a critical point in your agency to pay attention to. You cannot solely rely on digital marketing to grow your business. You've got
Preach,
to build
girl. Yeah,
relationships.
yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And I made 3 or 4 phone calls to people this morning just to follow up. I mean, because you can text and be like, here, fill out our Google thing, give us a review, whatever. You need to be having those conversations. It's surprising what happens on trips that you don't hear about. And
I
and
know.
strategy that I use now when I use foreign DMCs is I'll put people in a WhatsApp group and I'll be in that and I'll follow the trip start to finish because I don't want to hear from hear about it on the other end, when I could stop potentially something that could be a liability in between. So
I
create that, and sometimes people are like, I don't want to put them in a WhatsApp group or something. And I'm like, I do. I want to know, I don't want to
oh,
wait to some surprise phone call,
for sure, for sure. So, there's so many little things, and here's the thing. We don't know what we don't know. It's not your fault you don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. And so I'm here to bring awareness. One of the things that's really important to me inside of TIS and a lot of our team members, because we have a ton of people inside of TIS now, is to always be forward thinking, looking at different ways that we can help agents to protect themselves, do their business better, work with suppliers better. Actually, suppliers are starting to really love our platform too, because they're having problems with agents getting their terms signed by their customers. So they like this audit trail. So we're figuring out some solutions on the supplier side. As well as this year, we'll bring operator agreements, tour operator agreements to the market. But
let me ask you a question, because I know that this is going to be a question for the broader audience in here that's international. Do you plan to go international at any time?
yes, we do. So, from the very beginning, from the initial launch, we were asked by Nexion Canada to develop Canadian agreements. And we thought we would do it early on, but we really needed to focus on the US market. So our head of legal happens to be a total genius. He has been involved in the biggest travel tech company in the world as counsel, telecoms, multi-jurisdictional law, $100 billion IPOs, SPOs. He's very familiar with leading legal teams abroad. So he said, I'm committed to doing Canada. We've already been asked by a major consortia in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. They all follow similar law with some nuances. Travel operators. So the travel operators that would fall in the Commonwealth law countries. So again, we're a Commonwealth law country that follows the UK. So some of those countries, and then influencers and bloggers, who are getting into this business and they don't have the protections that they need. So it is on our roadmap. Listen, we have so many requests. It is unbelievable. We have a whole request list from our customers, and our customers know how feedback driven we are. If you want it, we're going to work as hard as we can to make it happen.
Okay. Last question that I see so much when people are cutting and pasting. I mean, how do you protect yourself from you as a company from people going in and just, I feel like this would be a big issue. I'm going to go in and download everything and then run and scramble and quit my subscription.
Well, first of all, I will say that our solutions are copyright protected. So here's the deal, guys. And we don't have a lot of customers who do this, but we have had a few. It is entirely impossible for us to offer the price point that we offer and all of the solutions, the warranty. We back our product, we keep them updated, we have a team, we deliver new product every single month. For you to take that product and then default on a payment 2 months later and expect to use the product. That's like your client going on a trip and coming back and saying, well, I didn't use this portion, or I just changed my mind. And it's just
stealing people.
It is. Come on, it really is. And so that is one component. But the other component is, why wouldn't you want to continuously protect your business? This is the most affordable solution on the market. And by the way, we have big companies who are licensing our product for all of their agents. We are launching a huge one right now. So if you are an agency owner and you have 25 or 50 or 1,000 agents under your umbrella, reach out to us. Our Vice President, Shemaine Grasso, deals with our strategic partnerships. She will work with you. But, you're either playing business or you're in business. And take your business seriously. This is serious. And I will tell you, it is so serious, you guys. Insurance companies are dropping out of the travel industry left and right. There are so many merchant providers that don't want to work with you anymore. Suppliers are getting smarter and they're coming for the agent because it starts with you. If you want to be taken seriously and you want this profession to be taken seriously, be the change.
Okay, I think that we need to end right there. We've been preached to today by Sheila Folk, Travel Industry Solutions. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Now, listen, if you want to be on this show, reach out to us, and we'll figure out a way to get you on about your product or your brand here at the Luxury Travel University, because we learn so much every time we bring somebody on here. If you want to find Sheila, it's in the link below. Travel Industry Solutions, the whole Luxury Travel University, all of these followers in this 40,000 plus community has a promo code that they can use, LTU10, and you can save 10% off for just watching this, connecting with her and her website on any of their memberships for 1 year. So I feel like that's really generous. So thanks for providing that for the Lux Tribe. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
tuning in. Bye-bye.